Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're talking about random encounters. And this particular random encounter is obviously for the Dungeon Master. And the sort of Dungeon Master I am is I'm a little bit odd. I like random encounters, but I also really like random encounters that aren't combat focused, that are a little bit odd and a little bit different. And today's one is going to cover basically the anthill. Of all things, why I'm going to talk about an anthill? Because I honestly think it's quite a cool random encounter to include. And it's the sort of random encounter that doesn't generate XP or experience point rewards. It is going to give them a different type of reward. So is this a joke? Am I just playing with you so that you can say to your players, you have ants in your pants? No, that's not the case. Well, maybe that's the case. No, I'm being fair. I'm not being silly about this. It's true. So a large anthill. They come across a large anthill in the wild, and it can be in many different locations. Anything that seems appropriate to you, such as a forest, an open grassland, maybe even a desert location, if you think that would be useful to you in your game. So you can sort of fit it in wherever you want. And when I say giant ants, when I say a giant anthill or a large anthill, I am not talking about monsters the size of a truck or a car. What I'm talking about is extremely large ants, okay? So ants that they don't have to fight off, that aren't the size of a truck or a car. So imagine an ant the length of your little finger from the tip of your finger to the first knuckle. That's how big we're talking about. So we're not talking about anything larger than that. Otherwise, we're getting a little bit carried away. I don't want to get carried away. I just want to, well, he's getting carried away. So ants are obviously very, very strong. And for this encounter, this is not a winnable combat, because there's going to be millions and millions of these fairly large ants. So describe your location. Now there's a couple of ways you can open it up. You can open it up and describe it as being just a large anthill, or probably better not to describe it as being an anthill. You can just describe it as a large structure. Right there, I'll pull back that picture again so you can see it. There we go. Alright, so you can see what looks like in the grasslands a large mound. It's a little bit strange. It looks like dirt has been squashed together and maybe over time has sort of cemented itself into one location or one piece. You haven't seen anything like this before. That's all it has to be. Or you can describe the scene as being completely covered in ants as far as the eye can see, ravaging the countryside. It's completely up to you. They could be eating bushes, trees, removing bark, leaves, carrying water, all sorts of things, stripping down the wildlife, eating insects, birds, you name it. It's completely up to you. Or, as I said, a large earth mound. So what is the purpose of this random encounter? Well, essentially, this random encounter is a trap. But it's an unusual trap in that it's not located in a dungeon, and it's actually a situation that should be avoided. So the players, it's really about getting them to learn to avoid certain things. And you should definitely allow the players to flee and avoid this situation. Nothing bad's going to happen to them. But if they decide to get frisky with these ants and anthill, things are going to happen and progress. And my suggestion to you is prodding, disturbing, or walking up to the anthill will result in ants swarming over foolish invaders, certainly swarming out of the anthill if they're not already out of the anthill. What does that mean? Look, there's no point making an attack roll as far as I'm concerned, because you're dealing with a whole lot of ants. They're moving fast enough. Unless they just go bat out of hell and run away, I would just simply have them make a Constitution saving throw as the ants swarm over them, up their legs, onto their toes, up onto their fingers and hands, onto their face and body. Get them to make a Constitution saving throw. I would set the DC quite high at the DC 15, and if they are successful, they suffer the poisoned condition. And if they fail, they're going to suffer the paralyzed condition. So you'll notice that no matter what happens, something bad is going to happen to them. Now, that still gives the other players an opportunity to grab a paralyzed character and get them out of there. And anybody who's been poisoned will obviously, well, I'm not going to say obviously, but hopefully will realize it's a bad idea to hang around and will skedaddle out of there. In terms of causing any kind of hit point damage, that's really up to you. I don't think that's necessarily the first step. I would go with the condition as the formic acid is building up in their body. If they stay around and they want to push the issue a bit more, then I would do what basically is to trap, right? So look at the Dungeons and Dragons or Dungeon Master trap chart, and it has damage level by severity, and you look at their level and pick the one that's related to a setback. We don't want them to suffer deadly or dangerous damage to begin with. If you're going to use damage at all, what we want to do is just include a small amount of damage. So from level 1 to 4 it would be 1d10, and if the same level is included, so level 5 to 10 would be 2d10, level 11 to 16 would be 4d10, and if they're level 17 to 20 it'd be 10d10. They've got a lot of hit points at that point, so you might as well ramp it up a bit. Okay, right, so that's my idea in terms of a random encounter. So there's lots of different things they can do. They can cast spells like Fireball, Burning Hands, anything that they might find useful. They can cast Fly on themselves. They might lay down some protective magic. Be flexible with this and allow them to actually do something with their class features, their spells. Hanging around the ant nest is obviously the worst thing they can do because you can't really fight off millions of ants. Don't make the ants resistant to any kind of damage whatsoever. They're just normal ants. They're not super ants. They're not. It's not Ant-Man you're dealing with here. It is just an ant, right? And the ant's goal is always going to be to eat the player's characters eventually, once they have poisoned and paralyzed them enough. So what sort of reward do you give your party for dealing with this? Well, if they decide to skedaddle, which is probably the smartest thing to do, they don't get awarded anything. But if they do put themselves in jeopardy, I would award them inspiration. I know this is, why are we awarding inspiration? If they use up resources, important class abilities that are things they can't get back easily, particularly if they are something that requires a long rest, or they use up spell slots, then I would definitely award them some XP. And you can decide on that. It really doesn't matter too much. Just find something that seems reasonable, because if a DC 15 is medium difficulty, so medium difficulty for their level, and award them that much XP for it. Really, really simple. Probably one of the more interesting ideas I hope I've got that is really simple and easy for you to drop into the game no matter what. So that's it. That's what I have for today. So hopefully you found that interesting and useful in some way. And yes, there are the possibility of casting spells, and yes, there might be some sort of thing going on, but I wouldn't turn it into combat. But if you liked it, please share and like the video. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the bell button to be notified when I go live and when I publish a new video. You are supporting me right now by watching this video, and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you want to continue supporting me, I don't do Patreon, but down in the description you will find those affiliate link things where you can buy stuff from Amazon and the book depository. I get a small commission. You pay exactly the same price as you normally would if you're buying whatever it is, and you don't have to buy the thing I have links to. Just go through the link and then go and buy whatever you want, okay? And that will help support me doing more of this sort of stuff. Now, if you have feedback for me, and I can tell there are people who want to talk, great. Stay around in the live chat and we'll have a discussion. Otherwise, if you're re-watching this, your questions, your feedback, anything you would like to do to make it more interesting and turn it into something that that isn't mine and is more yours, let me know down in the comments, and certainly I'll read all of those. I usually read all the comments, okay? And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.